Hello, good morning, traders. It is Thursday, October 28th, 2021, 11:31 a.m. I'm here in Sri Lanka, and I'm just going to follow up with my midweek breakdown. And we are now in Thursday, so technically it's the end of the week for me. I'll be closing out the remainder of my trades by Friday and getting my weekend set up. Now, I want to go over my current position in Gbpusd, go over where I left off, and then I want to break down the other pairs to see if they're ready to be traded yet. I had looked at Eurgbp and Gbpjpy as well. So let's get started with GU. Now, in the previous video, I had explained that I was waiting for the high impact news to subside before taking any type of trade in GBP. And here we can see the economic calendar from yesterday. We had a high impact GBP news. Regardless of wherever it went, it doesn't really matter. We're just trading the reaction of that news. So whether it went up or down, it didn't really matter to us. Now GBP, and then there was medium impact USD news. So there was a lot of congestion yesterday, and this is what news does. It whips you around, and after that there was no more GBP news. And now here we go, going into Thursday. So we see that on this clock it says 11:01 p.m. because this is still currently California time, but in a few hours there is some news in USD, and there's also news in Europe. So what I would like to do is I would like to go forward and look at GBPUSD, and I see that there is going to be news in USD in a few hours. At that point, I'm going to close out whatever trade I have running in GU, wait for the news to post, and then I'm going to take my trade based on what happens after the news. But that's not going to happen. It doesn't look like I'll be looking into taking any type of GBP USD trade until maybe late US session or maybe even the next day. It looks like GU may even be caught up in a range. Looking forward at the rest of the week, that may reflect on the chart. When we look at the 30-minute chart, we do see that it is coming from a low. It is bouncing back up to a high. Don't get surprised if GU bounces up within the green boundaries that I set in the previous video and just stays within that range for the rest of the week. So GU, although I do believe it's going to go up, as a day trader, I have to control my positions and take it day by day. And for the next day or two, I do not believe that I'm going to see that breakout that I want. So I'm going to look to close this out at some point before London session, and I'm going to just take whatever profits or losses. As you guys can see, the trade didn't go up and trigger my entry from the last video. I actually did a market order, and I had price pulled down against me for about 30 pips, and then it's currently going back up to break even for that order. So it was kind of a quick trade entry setup, and then I just looked at the news and did not realize that there is high impact news that may interrupt the current movement of the pair. So maybe GU may not be the best pair to trade, but now let's just find a better pair to trade. We went over Euro GBP, and there's news coming up for Europe as well, so I don't really think Euro GBP would be the best pair to trade as well. If anything, I think Gbpjpy is going to be the trade of the day, but also let's just take a look at Eurgbp and Gbpjpy on the charts. So let me scroll this. There we go. So we're looking at Eurgbp on the chart, and it's been in a straight range. Isn't that ironic, guys? I told you guys in the previous video that I was going to stay out of Eurgbp because it did not look like it was going to go down yet. And look at what happened. If you had respected your stop loss, and this is why you follow a day trading price action system, if you respected your stop loss a few days ago, like I had highlighted, I had went short in Eurgbp earlier this week, and I had made some money, and then I went short again, and I had gotten stopped out. After that initial stop out, we could see yesterday's price action, or I should say the 27th of October. So yes, yesterday's price action. We can see price did climb up about 40 pips high, and then for the past several hours, which looks like the Asian session, it's just been in a range. So this is another pair that might just stay within the range for the week. So I mean, it could do something such as dropping down lower and then rising from there based off of news, and that might be something that we might be looking to trade maybe the next day. I mean, Gbp has news, high impact, so I'm looking maybe either sometime during the next day's London session, Friday's London session, you could trade Gbp possibly after that 1 a.m. news. I believe that that might be just the right time to get into a nice setup for that pair. But until then, I don't really see any reason to trade this right now if you are currently trading with the trend. And we're just going to leave it alone. And maybe we'll see this just go into another straight horizontal line for the day. We'll follow up with that pair as well. Now let's go into Gbpjpy. In the previous video, I had highlighted that I was going to stay out of this trade as well because I believe that it was going to continue to fall, and in that case, it's not ready for us to enter based on the long-term bullish bias that I had. So I stood out of that pair, and we can see for the past 8 to 12 hours, this pair did drop about 45 pips. Going into the 30-minute time frame, see that it is dropping further. Now, the thing about GJ and GU is that they are two totally different pairs, even though they both have a GBP in it. So I want to bring GU up, and we can look at them next to each other just a moment. Okay, here's a GU pair I have. So here's GU. We can see on the 4-hour time frame, GU is bullish, and it is currently testing an area of failed support. So what had happened earlier on this week is price did break out into a bullish movement. It was supposed to break out and continue on up. Price got rejected from that resistance, and a bear trend became. You guys see that? There was a birth of a bear trend right there. So we don't know just how low price can go, but if price does go as low as 1.366, we can suspect it to keep on going another 100 to 200 pips. But I don't want to see it go down that low if I'm going to be bullish. I would like to see some sort of reaction around this area, and if it does fail, it's going to keep going down. Hence, I stay out the news. I stay out of this pair during the news that's going to happen for USD, because one thing that can happen is I can get very lucky and price could swing back up and break new highs, and bam, we are in the money. Or I could just be unfortunate and price could definitely swing back down against me and stop me out and keep going down for another zone where I would be looking for either bullish entry, or at that point, depending on the magnitude of the move, I could definitely be in a bearish market at that point. So we have to see and follow through with this pair every step of the way. But as of right now, I'm going to actually close out a couple of my trades because of the news, the upcoming news. So how many hours do we have until that event? It says 11:01 p.m. Cali time. So about 6 hours until Europe, about 7 hours until that news. So one thing that I can do is I can continue to hold this through for the next 4-hour candle, And my readings based off of the micro time frames, I'm looking at the 5 minute, does show that it will continue on to the upside for a little bit further. So seeing that price will possibly more than likely continue on up, I plan on taking profits, maybe around 1.376, and that's where I'll be exiting before the news, and then I'll be looking to re-enter. So this is very, very skill based. It requires a lot of knowledge and intuition in the markets to even be able to do what I just explained. And yeah, I'll just follow up with you all on GU as time goes on. GJ, well, this is a very messy chart, so what I'm going to do is insert file. Just a minute. I need a clean chart. You guys know I'm just going to get a brand new GJ chart. Save some time. This is all over the place, by the way. I don't know why this broker doesn't have it in order. Hey, can you guys help me find Gbpjpy? I'm having some trouble. If you can help me find it in the next 5 seconds, I'll give you 100K. Just kidding. GJ, where are you at? Oh my goodness. Really? So, guys, GJ is hiding from me right now. So, I'm on here we go, Gbp. I don't know why it's right there. Alright, so let's clear the chart up. Let's get the candlesticks going. And let's get the zoom and set up. Alright, so let's take a look at Gbpjpy one more time. Like I said, the stops are hit. Long-term stops that are holding the trade from October. That was up about 200 pips. If you want to wait for vacation, like these Bitcoin holders, thinking that it's just going to go straight to the moon, and you went on vacation, you came back a week or two later, you'll be one upset puppy because your stops would have been hit. So that's what just happened on GJ. I'm still in a bullish bias, but I do believe this is a great time for us to start looking for some buys. It's always the best time to look for buys when people's stops get hit, especially when it's a longer term stops, because there's a lot more space in the market for the minority to actually eat. So right now, I want to mark up some resistance and support areas, and we will go from there. And in my next video, guys, I'm going to record one more for the day, but I'm going to do a separate video on gold because the gold does move a little differently, and I would like to just focus on that on an individual basis and keep gold and Forex separate. So there will be a separate series on gold, and I will update you guys all on that shortly. Now, let's just take one more line on the daily. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. We can take a look at the 4 hour. We can see the bounce zones. I just want to refine the daily, combine the daily and the 4 hour. So there we go. We have a very bullish market. Now, on the 4 hour, I don't even see a reason why I would enter a bear market right now. There's no reason why. There's not enough of an impact on this chart on the bullish scale. Take a look at time. All right, awesome. On the bullish scale for us to really take a bear drive to the downside. And this little move right here is not strong. If it was strong, it would have continued on down after the 21st. But you guys can see for like the past week, it's been rising, and then there was a sharp drive. What is this sharp drive? You have to question these type of moves. What is it and why did it happen? Is this a realistic move that's going to drive price down 270 pips? Because if it is, it needs to continue to shoot downwards. It cannot hesitate around here because we know that the majority of retail traders are going to get into the market, London, U.S. session. They're going to see this type of setup, and they're going to be like, wow, it looks like a very obvious bear market. And this is what is happening at the moment. So this is my explanation of why this is going on. And then you do have, medium-term holders that was holding this for the past week. Once again, they're up 200 pips. So you got people that are up long-term, they're excited. You got, sellers that are sitting there waiting for re-entries for the market to go down. You got buyers that got stopped out. So you got a lot that's happening. These sellers waiting for a re-entry, they may not get that re-entry because it's not in a bear market. So they might actually be sitting, holding the bag now for some time until their stops eventually get hit and the bull market resumes. That's when we might see a large breakout. But like I said, we're taking it every step of the way, and my goal is not to just explain the past, present, and future narrative, but I also would like to just get into the more immediate time frames for day trading in the current day. So here we go, 30-minute time frame. We can see that it is driving price down, but it's having some struggle. It has having some trouble right here. You can see it climbed up from this area once, it dropped back down, and then it rejected that support again, and now it's forcing its way back down. So what is happening right now? We're seeing an exhaustion of sellers. Seeing that this was a bear market a few days ago, right here, we're seeing, I'm pushing my control key, so right here my control key is, you're seeing an exhaustion of a bear market that started. And then you see the pullback of that bull trend because this is its second chance opportunity to push to the downside. So if there's a failure at a support, and that's what we're looking for, then we can more than likely see a push to the upside. Also, combine this with news, because if there is any GJ news that's going to happen after all of this, then that's when we're going to be a little bit stuck. So for the next 24 hours, I don't see any Gbp or JPY news. There's no G12 meetings. There's no major global economic event that is happening within the next 24 to 48 hours, meaning for the remainder of the week, we might see some solid movement on this. So knowing that, I'm going to have a weekly target, and I'm going to set that weekly target with a horizontal line, a trend line. So my weekly target is actually going to be the base of a zone. I see a little mini zone being formed right here, so I'm going to mark that up right there. And then I'm going to do one more at the highs of the month, because that's where I would most likely like to take price, but we already know the market makes its own decision at the end of the day. So definitely check up on that. But now, here we are. So the next big question is, where is demand? We marked up supply because that's pretty easy to see on a chart that's already going down from its resistance. But where is demand? That's the challenging question. Where are we going to see a buy come from? Now, there is no area for the next 114 pips. So do you think price is actually going to continue to drop for the next 100 pips? And like I said, give all the retail traders a clue that it's going down when they log in? Or do you think that something is going to happen that's going to wipe out the current sellers and is going to drive the momentum to the upside and giving us our trade of the day and of the week? Now, I think the latter is going to happen more than the former. And, that's how the market works. It's tricky and it's manipulative. So let's disregard this trend going to the downside, and let's focus on what are the sellers doing in this trend. And as we can see, there was a bullish trend, and it seems like the majority of the sellers came in to eliminate this bullish trend. They didn't come in to eliminate the bigger bullish trend, which is this. They only came to cross out this trend. So when we place the Fibonacci tool on the chart, we can see that there is a potential target point of 155.2. That's pretty much what these guys are targeting. That's pretty much where I would have my stop loss if I were to go into this trade as a long swing. Now, I'm actually going to get a little bit more technical and get into the 15-minute time frame, see how I'm doing on time. All right, you know what? We're going to get an extra 5 minutes in on this because I really want you all to see this. Get into the 15-minute time frame, and now I'm looking for breaks to the upside. So we see the last drop I call this the last drive, was around 157, and around that area it closed out of a value area and drove about 125 pips down. That was probably some news, and then there's some manipulations, and a whole bunch of mess happens in this pair. Now, another thing that can happen is pre-news. It can go into manipulation. Post-news, this is why you don't trade the couple hours leading into the news. You don't trade the news, and you don't trade a couple hours after the news, because there's manipulation between those 4 to 8 hours of the news. There's going to be some sort of tricks. So you want to stay away from that. And that's kind of what GU has been doing for me, which is why I'm going to be looking for an exit at some point before the U.S. session. Is, even though GBP news had happened, let's flip back to see, even though GBP news had happened, annual budget release, there was USD news shortly after that, of course, and this was a few hours ago on this calendar. So what had happened after GBP USD news is that there's going to be USD news again in the next 5 hours. So that may mean that I really only have a couple hours left of this trade, because by then it's going to start manipulating the market to go into the direction where the news is going to go. Now, like I said, you could get very lucky and GU could shoot up, but I don't want to get lucky. I want to call these shots the way they're supposed to be called. And even if it does go up, more than likely it's going to go back down, because it's a news event. And so something like this might have been a news event where price shot way up and then it went back down because it wasn't ready to go up yet. So this could be another thing. It could be a news event shooting price up just to take it back down into the range for the week or even lower. It doesn't mean it's a bear market. It's just part of market movement, and it's just opportunity to buy in lower. So if I get out here, wait for the news, and even if it does shoot up here this high, my target's not this high. My target is way farther out. So this is not really an important move for me. So what might happen is a few pips that might shoot the market up by, and might then exhaust, go down against my original entry, stop me out, and get into a new low for the week. That's what my stop loss is. If it gets into that new low for the week, what may end up happening is there might be a new base point for next week's vote. And, I might just be holding a losing bag for no reason because I didn't close out before the news. This is what the news does. It might make you think it's going bearish or whatever. So we're going to stay away from this after a couple hours. And like I said, I plan on having a target, seeing that we don't really have much time left. I do plan on having a target. I want to set my target for about 67 pips up north. If it can close as high before the news release, that would be the most favorable, but anything above here would be ideal as well. We will see and follow up along the way. What I might actually end up doing as well is once price breaks these highs of 1.376, I might move a trailing stop up. So let's get back to GJ to sum this video up. That's the wrong one. Got to get all the way to the right. So let's sum up this video on GJ. Wow, quite some time. All right. So at this very moment, I want to be able to break down this pullback right now and assess this pullback and see if it's a promising drop or if I can buy into this downtrend right now because I see that it's weak. And realistically, I do see that it's weak. I see this pullback is basically challenging this current uptrend. And if you were bearish, you definitely would have been stopped out by now. So it does look like the market is going to shoot to the upside, as you can see where my mouse is pointing. So that is my proper direction. And I do believe it's going to happen within the next couple hours. So London Open is going to happen in about 1 hour, about 1 o'clock p.m. my time over here is London Open. And I do believe that it's going to buy into London Open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a specific scenario. I want to buy it from here, but I need a stop loss. So my buy would be right here. Simple as that, right? And my stop loss is going to be farther below. And this is just a rough move. It's not necessarily what I believe is going to happen, but it's not that far. I mean, I'm going to definitely scale this up as price continues to go up, but my bare minimum for my stop loss is going to be right there. I could place a stop a few pips below this low as well, but from my experience, price does sometimes tend to drive back down one more time and spike out these holders right here before it goes on up. So I'm going to have my stop a little farther out of reach. Money's not a problem for me because I'm aiming for a farther target. So target one is obviously going to be 157.6, 157.5, that area. It's about 162 pips. All right, that's target one. And then target two, we're going to extend it, this uptrend. So there's an uptrend, A to B, B to C, C to D. We're going to extend this uptrend to go to F. And that's going to be the extension. So about 209 pips is what my daily and also weekly target is going to be set at. And we can see on the 30-minute, it's set at these highs. Do I believe that these highs are going to get taken out? I do strongly believe that these highs are going to get taken out, but we're going to take it every step of the way since I don't see a solid 30-minute close above these highs just yet. I'm only going to take it up to those highs. And when we look at the 4-hour, same. It's right at the second peak that I had explained earlier in the video. So I hope you guys can see the setup in this video, and we're going to follow up with this. Now you guys can start to see my breakdowns include the news. It includes technicals, fundamentals, sentiment analysis, and everything in the playbook, so you can have a very, very clear understanding as to how to approach these markets in a proper manner, from top-down analysis all the way through to price action. So hopefully this clears things up. We will follow up in the next video in the series, and I will also go over gold. So stay tuned and click on the next video to see gold.